What is up, everybody? How are we doing, friends?
Column Chaos Tournament, and you have a chance to get involved, help them raise some funds, and do some good. So if you go ahead and do yourself a favor, give that a scan, learn a little bit more about what they got, maybe give them a follow.
How's that audio? Let me know if that audio is good.
They've got a lot of cool information that's on the way. But speaking
this
of cool
is
information on the way, back
last
to our
season's
regularly
reveal.
scheduled programming. Today we have the distinct opportunity to go ahead and tell you a little bit about the stuff that's going to be arriving with Act 2.
And this is sort of what I'm expecting for.
As always, I'm joined by an all-star cast of guests here from the Bungie development team. I'll go ahead and dive right.
How's everybody doing,
into it,
friends?
Starting with the individual right here to my left, the incomparable Allison Lures, narrative director here. At Bungie.
It starts in 20 minutes.
Doing all right. Thank you for asking. No one ever asked me back.
Maybe I'll add that to
Yes,
stream.
thank you. I appreciate it. For the uninitiated at home that may not have met you or just kind of meeting you for the first time outside of the Vidoc potentially, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Yeah, my name is Allison Lures. I'm the narrative director for Destiny 2. It's my job to work with the team that creates our stories and characters. We're in charge of making you cry.
If I get one question about when does it start?
You're welcome.
You and yours are doing some heavy lifting.
You're
Even
welcome.
my black and dead heart has got to have some feelings. So
what's up?
We appreciate it.
What's up, Bella? How you
And
doing?
of course, sitting right next to Allison is the one and only Mr. Ryan Harris.
Is the audio good? Can you hear me over it? Can you still hear it clearly?
For the folks that also may not have met you or have probably played your activities without realizing it, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here?
Yeah, so my name is Ryan Harris. I'm a senior activity designer here at Bungie, and folks may know me from Season 20 Battlegrounds, 7th Inspire, and yeah,
Good morning,
I work
good
on the
morning.
Vanguard seasonal team, making that
Hack it, I'm gonna
content
ban
folks
you.
play day after day.
Excellent. I've spent a lot of time in Sabbath Inspire.
I can't hear you when I mute the stream. Damn.
And of course, next to him, friend of the show. If you've tuned into our Into the Light streams, you've met him before a couple of times. The one and only senior design lead here at Bungie, the one and only Chris Proctor. Chris, welcome back.
Thanks, Andy. How are you today?
I hope
we see Chris today. I like Chris.
Everything's coming up Millhouse. This is going great.
When I'm
For the
having a
folks
bad
that may
day, I
not
think
have
about
had a
Chris
chance to
Proctor and I
tune
start
into
having
the
a good
previous
day.
streams, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie.
Yeah, folks might be familiar with my work on the weapons team. I was weapons feature lead for 4.5 years. I'm now the sandbox craft lead on Destiny, which means I help out the sandbox team with any issues.
All
they
right,
face
you're done.
And help uphold that critical.
You're
sandbox
out of here,
game.
buddy.
Yeah, it's an exciting one to dive into. So thank you and yours for all of your hard work. Now let's go ahead and get ready to go ahead and dive into some stuff.
Yo, Garbage, what's
about,
up? This is the old one.
Act
This is
2. But
last
first things
season's.
First, we've obviously.
Is it better
been
to put this
listening
at the
to feedback
bottom?
of our
Is it less
fans.
distracting?
In particular, the kind of weekly rollout of all the different stuff that's happened through.
Is that
episode
better?
1. With episode 2, you guys are looking to try something a little bit different. Isn't that right?
That's right. Yeah, we've been listening to the fans and listening to feedback, and we agree it's time for a change. So we're going to do a trial of something new in Act 2. We're going to be dropping all 3 beats of the
Episode 2.
acts at once. So we'll be
How is there lag? This is a VOD. Bro, Twitch is such a garbage fucking website. Jesus.
So we'll be dropping all the 3 beats for Act 1 at the same time, all the 3 beats for Act 2.
Yeah,
at the same
Jacket's
time,
Bad
all the
Omens.
same beats, for Act 3. And the goal is to
Can't
encourage
you
players to
wait?
play
Can't
at
you guys
their own
tell?
pace.
This is the easiest thing to read ever. See, Bad Omens, obviously. Hello. God, I loved it. I fuck with this style so hard. It's so good. Anyways, we'll go back.
To get all of that content at once, if that's what they're looking for,
Yeah.
or to meter it out over whatever pace they want to play at. But yeah, so we're going to give it a shot.
She's been at Bungie for a while, I
episode 2.
think.
Excellent. That's right. Yeah.
See how it goes over.
Yes,
I
definitely. And
am-
to that same end, when episode 2.
I know people are going to like initially all content dropping at once. So instead of, if you guys don't know, this season or this episode, instead of there being 1, 2, 3, and then 3 weeks of nothing, it's going to be everything on day 1 and then 5 weeks of nothing. And I personally think that is objectively going to be I always say objectively when I don't mean it. I think that's gonna fucking suck. I'm very worried about it. That there's definitely a content creator side of that I'm terrified of, but we'll see. Allison's
rolls
awesome.
around. Make sure and let us know what you guys think. But whether you're a Netflix-style binger like myself, or you want to go to the comic book store each week to go ahead and pick up the new issue, there's going to be a chance to dive in no matter how you want.
Yeah,
you want
Bad
to
Omens
spend
is
it,
it's a
up to
rocket
you.
launcher from
But make sure to read it. More about it is going to be in the
from Gambit.
Excellent. Okay, make sure and tune in. We'll have plenty more information on the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at also what got us here today. So we're still in episode 1, Echoes.
Yep.
Act 1 has kind of concluded its
I like
main
Andy
story
too.
beats. For
They
those at
usually
home
have a
that may
pretty
not have had
fucking
chance
good
to go
cast
through,
for
they have
these
some
things.
questions about the
Andy's a
story.
real chill
Would you
dude.
mind catching us up to what events got us here today?
Sure. We'll do the short version. Great news.
I hate Twitch. If you like Twitch more than YouTube, I worry about
Great news. The witness is dead.
you.
We did it. Yay. The episodes are all about the consequences of where we killed the witness and how. So when we killed the witness, all of that darkness, all of that memory, all of that energy collided with the light of the traveler. And so all of the
Has
memories
Allison always
that
been a
were
lead writer?
inside
I
of
have
the
literally
witness,
no idea.
Which is not necessarily exclusively the precursor being
The first act will be fine with the dungeon. The biggest content drop will, of the 3. Yeah, we'll also have Iron Banner Festival. Yeah, but Iron Banner fucking sucks.
We call those echoes, and one of them launched out towards Nessus, and so we followed it to try and investigate, see what this thing is. And when we got there, we managed to reunite with Failsafe, who you abandoned.
Yeah,
her.
by the way, dude, they guilt trip us like this, and then we just left her ass again. We're like, sorry, Failsafe, fucking idiot. You know, we're just like, Failsafe, more like bad safe. I don't understand. Well, I guess technically she's in the helm for now. We'll leave her again. We'll leave her again at the end of the year. You know what I mean? And you can tell Allison really cares about Failsafe. She's like, why would you guys abandon her? It's like, we didn't do it. You know what I mean? I like Failsafe.
It's okay with
I do
this
feel
because
personally
she's
responsible.
chill.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Thank goodness. Thank you.
She's very happy to see us.
We're happy to see her.
And we're happy to see her. So we've been exploring through Nessus, and initially things are pretty fun.
At this point, put her in the tower? Yeah, let's do it.
Nothing bad's going to happen.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Failsafe's around.
And the act ends with getting a little tease of like, oh wait, this isn't going to be a strictly lighthearted adventure. Saint gets kidnapped, more than kidnapped, kind of body controlled away from the rest of the group. And as he's taken away,
This was for Act 2. I was like, why are they talking about this like we already saw it? What? Bro. Oh, that's why. Okay. Yo, Kaido, what's up? Someone said there's no Steam art. Anyways, Allison's awesome. I hope she gets to appear in this stream. She's cool. You can tell she really cares about what she does. And I say it literally every chance I get. There's nothing more infectious to me than watching someone who clearly loves what they do talk about what they do. I think that's one of the greatest things ever in life, to be honest. What is this?
Who are the heroes of Destiny 2?
Who are the heroes of Destiny 2? Revenant. Is this... Oh, is it offline on Twitch? Didn't it say they're live? Yo! I told you the Dread were... Dude, there were so many haters that were like, oh, the Dread aren't gonna be there, the Dread are... Yeah, get fucked. Nerds, the Dread are totally there. Look, up there. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. A Scorn Dread season is about to pop off. That's about to pop off so hard, actually. Zoom in on armor. On whom's armor? There's no characters here. On the Fnatic's armor? Bungie not neglecting the new enemies is a W? Totally agree. This looks insane. Oh, I'm so stupid! my bad, blood. Kind of looks like Axis. Doesn't that kind of look like Axis's head? I mean, we've seen this armor though. This is the path forward destiny. What was it called? The road forward. That looks sick. But we've seen this armor. Give me a sec. Let me find it. The journey ahead.
With some new interesting revelations that happened.
Oh, there's Allison again. Bro, she just keeps showing up. Here we go. Here we go, baby.
Revenant is going to be very fallen.
Bro, by the way, like, this guy's just getting fucking. This guy's getting the big bad big mad, bro.
Fallen theme.
The Fallen don't have a home planet anymore. Reese has been gone for a long time, and they've been looking for a new home across the galaxy.
Revenant has more dark fantasy themes. It's about slaying vampires with a touch of Splicer mixed in.
I mean, come on, bro. Come on. This has to be the greatest season ever. This is such a free. This is so free. There is 0% chance anyone can mess this up. This is the greatest layup of an idea for a season. This is up there with Season of the Witch. You know, you just hear it and you're like, oh shit, that's perfect.
It's to be a Slayer Baron. We'll learn that in Elixni culture, this was
Big blunderbuss
the
exotic.
role that was reserved for the most renowned monster hunters.
For that one, we took a really hard lean in.
So that armor is this. So this is the Axis head here. That's this. It looks good. It looks like they changed some stuff though. Right? Is this the same? No, it's about the same. It looks a little more brown here. Could be like a shader thing. Looks good.
Into the vampire hunter fantasy.
This has to be the exotic mission exotic. I will not accept anything else. And I hope there's some sort of like life steal. We don't, you know, we have exotics that heal you when you get kills. We have exotics that do like damage over time. I would love some sort of like, so many RPGs, so many MMOs, so many looter shooters have like a leeching effect, and we don't have that in Destiny. Like a DOT over time that also gives you health. This needs to do that.
We're introducing a system called potion crafting. Combat potions boost your artifact directly, then your loot potions, those are going to allow you to have agency over the rewards that you're chasing. What we'd like to do in year 10 is give players
Void
more...
Soul does that, not for health though, right? Void Soul does it for ability energy.
agency in their pursuits. You'll see more experiences where you can kind of decide what you want to do in this next step.
Fikrul is back, and he's got the Echo. And this is what Fikrul's using to build his new Army of Darkness. And he's moved into an Awoken Watchtower. Fikrul's Vampire Keep. We took a lot of inspiration from
all
horror
episode
for that
1 stuff will stay.
Heresy is
I
about
don't care about heresy. We're not here to talk about heresy. Anyways, this looks like, yeah, there's the gun. Blunderbuss gun. No, GL? Maybe Blunderbuss gun? Holding a stake of some sort, by the way? And something in there. Is that like potion and a stake? Very cool. Sick art. And I know people are probably sick of me talking about it, but I love the fact that episodes and dungeons and stuff are getting their own font now. This one's really cool because it's based off of the Forsaken font, but it's not exact. It's pretty close. It's the Forsaken font's definitely more like Awoken-y. So you can see, like, if you compare, like, the R's, right? Like, they're really similar. They've got that kind of Awoken-y structure, but this has got the stakes. added, the serifs added as well. No, the reveals today. It comes out next week. I also love how the spacing's closer on this. Like the A's different, but it keeps like the same like awoken theme. Looks really good. Looks really, really, really good. It's a bit thicker as well, but I just like when things get their own font and their own like vibe and stuff, like it just it feels so good to me. I'm like, yes, this is how this is supposed to be. And they've been doing that for a lot of things recently, so I like that. I'm gonna drop this since it starts in 5 minutes. Yep, Dread are flying above the Fnatic. We got some Dready boys. We got some Scorny boys. We got some maybe regular Fallen? I think these are Scorn though. But Scorn Dread season sounds insane. It's kind of weird how we're kind of positioned here like we're fighting for Fikrul. Don't want that to be the case. I want to kill Fikrul. I want Fikrul to big die. Mostly because I just want to like kill anything in Destiny that I can, really. I like how this Echo has more of a shape. Like the one in the Echo of Command was very nebulous, right? Wasn't it? Or was it the thing? Was the collar the Echo of Command, actually? Yo, what's up, Melina? Do we know? Oh yeah, she didn't have the Echo in the cutscene. Well, unless that's this. Is this the Echo? It was the collar? What if they combined to make something? You could kind of see how this would fit inside the collar, right? Making a little MacGuffin, a little bit of a super weapon or something. I really don't like how we didn't fight Lakshmi. I agree. I feel like we should, even if we don't kill her, even if the ending is exactly the same, just put a humanoid robot that we fucking destroy. That would be sick. They combine to respawn the witness. Can you imagine? All right, almost time. Just a couple more minutes. I mean, they're legitimately fragments of the witness. Not quite. They're what happens when the darkness of the witness, when the witness exploded and it's like memories and darkness collided with the light of the traveler to make them real or some shit like that. It's like a bunch of like, we'll figure out what this is later. It's like when, you know, Bungie for like 5 years described the darkness as like 20 different things, and then eventually Luke Smith was like, I'm gonna be real with you, we have no idea what the fucking darkness is. That's like what this is. But Fikrul is like a way better villain than Maya ever could even aspire to be. Vampire theme is insane. Dread Scorn season is insane. Like, man, they've got the easiest layup in the world right now. Please be good. And then you put Splicer shit on top of that, bro. Ugh. This season's gonna be good. I feel exactly the same as I felt at the Season of the Witch reveal, and I immediately nailed that. I was like, this is one of the best seasons they've ever done, and it, in my opinion, turned out to be true. I get that same vibe here, but we'll re-talk after the reveal. Vickrell kind of looks like that dude in yesterday's. He does look like Caraxes. Zombies Vanguard. What's his name? Not dissimilar. Not dissimilar. They're red and they both have eyes and pointy hats. Is there actually extensive zombies lore? Didn't you ask that yesterday? And didn't I go on like a 10-minute rant about how extensive the zombies lore was? Are you expecting any new subclass abilities? No. No, I'm not. Is there anything specific you want to see in the stream today? I really want to see the dungeon trailer so badly. I want to see the dungeon trailer. What do I want to see today? Just good shit. You know what I mean? Like good stuff. I want to be surprised. Like I always just want to be surprised in a good way. And when they surprise me in a good way,
Alrighty.
I like it.
Hello, welcome, good day, good evening, good time zone to you all, and welcome back.
How's the audio?
We're coming to you live here.
They're a
from
little
beautiful
quiet.
Bungie HQ
They're really
in
quiet.
Washington. My name is Andy, and I work on the social media team here at Bungie, and today we're thrilled to get to welcome all of you.
I can't turn it up anymore.
Talking a little bit about what's to come with Act 1 of episode Revenant, launching just next week on October 8th. And also we're going to go ahead and take a little bit more of a look further down the road and talk a little bit more about Codename Frontiers.
Hello, I'll turn
But
me
worry not,
down.
Just like always, you don't have to listen.
How's the audio? I'll turn me down so you can turn everything up. I literally can't make it louder. It's as loud as it goes.
Talk through it as well. And I say there's no time like the present. Let's introduce our cast of characters so we can go ahead and dive on in. Starting with someone that you may know if you've tuned into our Into the Light streams in the past, the one and only Jerome Viernich.
Oh, I can make it louder.
Designer here at Bungie. Jerome, how's it going?
It's great. I'm glad.
Okay, how's that?
Doing well, thank you. And welcome back again. For the folks that may not have seen you on this show before or had a chance to go ahead and check out the Into the Light streams, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Sure. I'm a writer on our fantastic writing team, so that means dialogue.
Did that make it better?
Tending to the garden that is our lore and doing UI UX strings.
The fun stuff. So you're the blank space filler.
That's
is it
right.
too
That's
loud?
right. Press X. That's me.
Okay, I hold down E personally, but we
Okay.
can.
Sorry,
we can-
I think I just blew your eardrums
That's
out.
all
I
right. No,
apologize.
we're cross-play friendly. It's okay. And then also sitting just next to him, someone who is joining us
Okay,
now.
that
in front
should
of the
be good.
camera, previously a member of our behind-the-scenes fire team who does so much of our heavy lifting. The one and only Clayton Kisko, staff designer here at Bungie. Clayton, welcome.
Are we good?
Thanks for having me. How you doing?
Doing well, thank you. And hey, second verse, same as the first. Can you tell the folks at home a little bit about who you are and what you do here at Bungie?
Yeah, so I'm a staff designer here, and I work primarily within the activities department. So I am in charge of building.
Oh my
the
God, I think they
skeleton
did make an
framework of the
entire font.
activity, developing the encounters and the boss fights as well, and building that amazing roller coaster that you tend to go on as a
We've been
player.
writing it for a while. Thank you very much for all your hard work. Given that today's Tuesday and reset day, I have plenty to dive into. Thanks to you and yours. So thank you a ton, Clayton.
Yeah.
And sitting just next to him, someone that needs no introduction, but will still risk it anyway, just to make sure everyone's all caught up. The one and only the sandbox craft lead here at Bungie, the one and only Mr. Chris Proctor. Chris, how's it going?
Good, thanks, Andy.
So anyone who may not have seen you on the Into the Light streams in the past or heard you in podcasts around the community, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, so I'm Chris Proctor, Sandbox Craft Lead on Destiny 2 here at Bungie. I work with the rest of the Sandbox team and Destiny leadership, other teams, to make sure that we're always hitting that gameplay quality bar that Bungie is renowned for.
Chris the
occasionally also
Proctator
make a few
Proctor.
things for the game.
Yep, it's not an easy job, but we thank you all for doing it. And also, I want to note, chat's calling you out immediately. You're getting a lot of love already. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Now, we're going to go ahead and dive into episode Revenant, which again is launching just next week on October 8th. But before we go ahead and dive into that, Jerome, we're on the verge now in the last week of completing episode Echoes. Can you tell us a little bit about the story that got us to where we are now?
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's start with the death of the witness.
Okay.
Sure,
who
that
we
got sick.
thoroughly destroyed.
Absolutely.
And his giant, smoky, billowing head dissipated into a mist of darkness, which then coalesced with the traveler's light.
Yeah.
Right? Crystallizing into the echo.
Yeah.
Which fell into the Sol system. One of those fell, of course, to Maya Sundaresh, which we know from episode 1.
Yeah.
And it fundamentally changed how the Vex saw themselves. And now we're going to get the same treatment with the Scorn, because one of the echoes will be falling to Fikrul, leader of the undead Eliksni army.
Yeah.
And similarly, that echo is going to prompt the Scorn to evolve, to see themselves in a new way, and to fundamentally change what they are. And I won't spoil anything. I'll let players discover that for themselves. But suffice it to say, Fikrul is evolving his army, he's growing his army, and in order to build Scorn armies, you need a bunch of corpses.
Interesting.
Which is not necessarily in the best interest of the Eliksni. So we will be teaming up with Mithrax.
Speaking of Fikrul, we see him right here as well.
That's cool!
Look at the new art for episode Revenant as well. So Fikrul's gotten a bit of a glow up.
They're trying to murder all the Fallen to make Scorn?
Metal. And I think that shows it right there. That accurately depicts the tone of the season.
Yeah, it's not messing around. I will say we won't watch the trailer today, but when folks see the trailer, you're right. Metal is the right word to use.
So much slaying.
Serious.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
But the Eliksni, of course,
Why would we not
want
see
to
the
prevent
trailer
this,
today?
and so we'll be teaming up with Mithrax, the Kell of House Light, and his daughter Ido, the adorable Ido.
Must be protected at all costs.
Absolutely.
Thoroughly, yeah.
And she will be bringing her expertise in herbology and ancient Eliksni lore to help us craft tonics to imbue us with the power that we need to battle this evolving Scorn army.
Interesting. That is, thank you, by the way, for not only, now you've narrative directed us into our segue as well, so thank you very much. Narrative design as well. And so I think we should go ahead and dive into a little bit of gameplay, starting over here with you, Clayton. So we just heard a little bit about some new tonics and everything. Can you tell us a little bit about where we are and what we're going to be doing here? This is the new apothecary, I believe?
That's right. So we're in the apothecary space, and Jerome was just mentioning the tonics and potions that we'll be crafting. They come in two flavors. They come in combat flavors, and they come in reward flavors.
Okay.
The combat flavors are going to enhance, or rather boost your artifact perks, specific ones.
Yeah.
Higher rarities of these tonics will boost multiple artifact perks, which is really great.
Okay.
And then on the reward side, we wanted to create
We'll have to
a
go
new
back and
or
see what all
novel
these
way
perks
to
are.
chase your gear and your weapons that you love.
Yeah.
And we took a lot of inspiration from the success of Into the Light, where players got to attune to specific weapons. And so with your reward tonics, you'll be able to attune to specific weapons within the season.
Very nice.
They're not craftable in this season, which is important to note, but you will be able to target them, and they'll have enhanced perks.
Got it. Okay. So you'll be able to go ahead and chase down that god roll you're looking so desperately for with the help of this. But also, you know, for the build crafters out there, they're going to have even more to dive into than maybe just the episode artifact and everything. These are going to go ahead and help just boost a lot of those traits, I guess, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So build crafters, make sure your appetites are whetted and ready. There's going to be plenty of stuff for you to go ahead and dive into. But we're going to go ahead also and dive into some of the meat and potatoes of today's stream, proverbially speaking.
Let's go.
As we're on our way over to Onslaught, Clayton, I just want to go ahead and also start there. Onslaught's getting kind of a new revamp this episode as well. You guys have left proverbially very few, if any, stones untouched this time around.
Yeah, and so we heard players' feedback. They wanted to see us invest in Onslaught. We are coming out with a brand new Onslaught called Onslaught Salvation.
Yeah.
We are going to have 3 maps that you'll be in there. You will have some new defenses. We'll have enemy factions that will be fighting into the theme of this episode.
Let's go!
The Scorn. We'll have the Dark Cabal.
That's right.
A bunch of other new stuff that we can get into.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll be diving into that here briefly. You can see our fire team is now on their way. While we're on the way over as well, I heard a brief mention of our friends in the Shadow Legion as well. Can you tell us what the Shadow Legion is doing here and why they might be in league with Fikrul, Jerome?
The Shadow Legion are bumming. They are in utter disarray. Their leader has been slain, and they are grasping to anyone who can keep them
Onslaught just needs to replace Gambit.
And Fikrul holds the most powerful artifact around now.
Got it.
So they will be doing his bidding, though it will be a tenuous alliance.
They're going with Fikrul's Riz just for right now, but that may not be the case later on.
That's right. We will do our best to stomp that out.
That was a good wink. Do you see that?
Appreciate it. All right, so now we are here.
Oh,
We're
some
in
Widow's
Onslaught.
Court
We're on,
Onslaught action?
Widow's Court.
Yeah. So PvP players will recognize this map. And,
Oh, this is a new
also
exotic.
recognize
Oh, it's a
the changes
waveframe?
that we've done to accommodate
Or is it
for,
the-
the slaying, the amounts of slaying that is necessary for an onslaught activity.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah,
I don't
quick,
even know what the
quick
fuck's
refresher for
happening.
the folks
Or
at
is this
home
the?
that may not have dove
Oh, this
into
is the
Onslaught
spike.
recently
This is
or
the
since
spike
Into
gun.
Light. There is the 10 level mode and the 50
Yeah, it is.
level
It's a
mode.
spike. It's got
Right,
like
so
an ornament on it
Onslaught
or
Salvation
something.
will also be coming with the 3 modes that they've had in the past, which is the playlist 10 wave mode, the normal 50 wave
Stasis
mode, and then we'll
GL,
have our
liking
expert
that.
50 wave mode. And the new thing about Onslaught Salvation, one of the new things, is that it will not be
Operatable turret?
power fixed like it was prior. in Into the Light.
Operatable
Power
turrets?
enabled, so your armor and your weapons will matter even more.
Yeah.
It will be at the start
Airstrikes?
more difficult, but
Yeah.
you can, through getting better, more power and grinding
Primary
hard,
ammo, too.
You'll be able to kind
Primary
of outweigh that difficulty.
grenade
You'll also be able
launcher.
to,
So new
rely
Fighting
on some new
Lion-ish.
defenses as
Yeah, I was going to say, we were just looking at a turret that maybe Guardians haven't seen since their days on the moon in D1. Can you
Yeah.
tell us, like, what's going on? We got some new defenses, obviously.
We have some new defenses. So
We could-
Ashley Baker is one of the
could find
tech
turrets
designers
in
we have.
Destiny
She's
1.
on the fire team right now, and she has helped us build these defenses, as well as other things in Onslaught. And she's worked with the Sandbox team, who have knocked it out of the park with this rideable turret.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a standard rideable turret at first, but by upgrade 3, it's going to have more health, it's going to be dealing more damage, but it's also going to have
I like the red
scorching rounds
egregore
coming out of it.
going on
Okay.
too. I
And
think
what
that
the
looks
cool
good.
thing about that is that if
So
you
is this the
have,
seasonal
build
activity?
crafting with fragments or what have you within Scorch.
I'm actually down for that.
If you're
I don't think people will be, but I'm totally
So you
down.
can go ahead and really scorch everyone. To
Everyone,
as much as
clumps
possible.
of enemies,
Yeah.
those annoying demolitionists that come in front of the ADU and scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, they do. That was my words, okay? They
Yeah,
do
egregore's usually blue.
All right. So in the subject or in the topic of new defenses, so we're bringing back the turret from yesterdecade of Destiny, but also there's some other ones available as well. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some new defenses that are on the way?
Yes, so the other one that we have is the Airstrike,
Yes.
which will have 3 cannons when you purchase it, or upgrade it. They'll be replenished there. And what that allows you to do is
Ooh.
essentially mark anywhere on the ground.
Yeah.
And when an enemy or enemies run over it, a giant
That was one of those
beam
nuclear
will come
enemies
down
too,
from the
I think,
sky
or
to
something.
obliterate your enemies.
Yeah.
Is that a giant
totem?
totem?
Secret for higher upgrades. I want to
No, that's
reveal
fair, that's
everything
fair.
here, but there's some really nice
Yeah,
upgrades.
Nimbus liked that. We'll just go ahead and put that.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Yeah.
And actually, so just to double check as well, with the airstrikes, it's not just you plant it and it fires. It actually has to wait for someone to kind of trigger that. I
Waits
guess?
for someone to come over. Yeah,
Very nice, okay.
much like the tripwire, which
Yeah.
we are also updating.
Yeah.
For Onslaught Salvation. We've heard the feedback about the tripwires, and we want to bring their value up a little bit more. So now they're going to be exploding with stasis slow fields.
Yeah.
And on higher upgrades, they'll be creating stasis crystals for you to play off of if you have a stasis build, or
Yeah.
stasis weapon. And then I'm happy to share that those updates will also be available in the original Onslaught as well.
Very nice. Okay, so all the updates that are happening to the defenses that are available in Onslaught Salvation will be available in the traditional Onslaught mode as well.
Just the tripwires, yeah.
Very exciting. Okay, nice. Good to see. While we're on the topic of stasis and obviously looking at our tools for destruction, Chris, I'd be remiss if I didn't try and bring up the new breach loading grenade launcher that our fire team here is getting a lot of use out of. There's obviously a decent chunk of new weapons arriving with Revenant, but let's start here. This is the new seasonal, or pardon me, episodic exotic.
Yeah, this would be the Season Pass exotic.
Yeah.
It's the Alephamin Stasis Primary Ammo Grenade Launcher.
Yeah.
So we've only had one primary ammo grenade launcher before, which is Fighting Lion.
Fighting Lion.
Which is
beloved.
getting a buff this season as well, actually. It'll
That's right, yeah.
make enemies volatile when it hits them, so like some serious build crafting there, particularly
Yeah.
in PvE. But anyway,
I cannot wait.
so this is a bit different in that it's also a projectiles travel in a straight line, so like mountaintop.
Yeah.
Hits pretty hard. But the exotic part of it is that as you defeat enemies, you will gather these remnants, which will fill up the exotic bar, which you can see in the HUD when people aren't dead.
Yeah. It's the shade.
Yes.
Oh, they're an expert.
No, that's true. Yeah, we should note for the Guardians at home, this is an expert mode, so they're
it is
taking
a
the hard
tough
way,
activity.
obviously.
But yeah, so when the bar reaches 50%, you can special reload, and your next shot will launch a special ammo brick for you and your allies to pick up.
Very nice.
And when you reach 100, you can special reload and launch heavy ammo. So this lets you really go in on a new type of support role, which is like ammo support, which we haven't really seen in the game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think on my side, I really just spend a lot of the time getting like the Seeker Tracker and Finder mods on my helmet, but it seems like a nice additional way to go ahead and make sure that you're really feeding the fire, feeding the fuel, pardon me, of the heavy ammo burners like myself who have been addicted to microcosm recently. So
potentially you could have one person in the fire team go all in on ammo generation.
Bro, primary ammo, stasis grenade launcher that has movement tech and spawns fucking ammo, bro!
With Onslaught Salvation, are there any new things we're looking forward to? I know that we're obviously fighting the involved Scorn, but are there any new bosses or anything people can look forward to?
Right, so the Fickrel Scorn are also going to be coming out with what we're calling the Revenant Baron.
Okay.
And that thing is
I'm never
scary,
taking that shit
you'll
off.
see it on wave
I'm a
6 here in
fucking...
a second when
What do you call this
players
thing?
are instructed to go into like a Revenant nest and go and save the Elixir from being captured.
Yeah.
These Revenant Barons, they stalk the area, and when you kill them, they will create a Revenant totem which flies in a random direction, leaving a trail so you can kind of like stalk it, find it.
Yeah.
You have to kill it before it would respawn the Revenant Baron.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's some hide and seek gameplay there. Yeah, and so we also have for the
Yeah, like a
rewards,
burst shoddy. That's interesting.
starting on wave
I bet the
33,
DPS is going to be insane on that
players
thing.
will have a small chance to get a fully masterwork double perked episodic weapon.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and on expert, like we're playing, if you remember the bonus chest on harder difficulties will show up. So if you're playing on expert, you have 2 chances.
Okay, all right. So really make sure you're pushing through those final levels.
Shiny
Try and hit
weapons?
that ceiling of level 50 so you can really facilitate the loot grind as much as you can.
100%.
Something we mentioned recently in one of our Dev Insight logs as well are Banes. Which are going to be making an appearance here in Onslaught. Can you tell us a little bit
We're still
about that as well?
teleporting.
Yeah, so we'll be, with the expert mode only, we'll be having Banes throughout the activity. And we'll
Is this
also
all a
be
sector?
adding,
What is this?
Mods. So it's really nice to have them show up because they add another layer of replayability into
Is this
expert.
just a new
You don't
space?
know
I
if
do
you
not
can
recognize this
dash
space
it
at all.
One where like, you got a dot on you, or if you have to break line of sight, but it adds a fun variability within the gameplay, so every wave feels different.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have. Oh, please.
I just wanted to point out here,
please.
you'll notice 2 things. First off, the fire team is tracking that Revenant Baron, just like you said.
Yeah.
And also freeing captured Elixir. And as to why people want to keep Elixir captives alive, I'll save that for the players to discover.
Sounds devious.
The other thing is that you'll see Crow chiming in a lot. He's features prominently in the season.
Right,
Because he is inadvertently, of course, responsible for creating Fickrel, and so it's his responsibility as the new Hunter Vanguard to rectify his old problem.
Interesting. Even though he can't be like, hey man, that was Ultron, that wasn't me. He's going to step up and take responsibility for that.
Absolutely.
Old Fickrel's fickle out there. Even to that same end too, we're going to be hanging out with Crow, with Ido, and with Mithrax, obviously at the main kind of part of the story. They're going to be the ones that we're going to be hanging out with the most, you'd say? Or
there will be some other Elixir, some venerable old school Elixir that poke their heads in that you'll see some drama with. I won't say any more than that.
Fair.
But it will be in everyone's interest to see Fickrel go down here.
Okay, got it. A little bit
Oh, it had precision instrument, did it?
They're all our enemy.
That's right.
Fair enough. Actually, really quickly, Clayton, I know we kind of touched on several different subjects here between the different defenses, different enemies, the different kind of, structural opportunities that Onslaught, Salvation.
I wonder if Noah worked on this.
What was it like, sitting down with a team and sort of looking at this new refresh on this activity? Like, did you guys take any big challenges for yourself where, like, we want to do this?
Yeah, we knew we just wanted to build and evolve and just do more.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
It's a metal episode. We want to do Onslaught. Let's metal it up. Right? So things like the turret, things like the Revenant Baron, we really want to play into the themes of this kind of haunting.
They're speaking to me.
Episode.
They're speaking my language
you're
right
seeing that
now.
in the roll dart, you're seeing that in the different defenses and the mechanics that we're bringing in as well. Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention too is we are updating the moth yards from the original Onslaught.
Oh, really?
We've heard feedback from there. It's taking a little bit longer. We want to bring our goal is to bring that in line with the rest of the maps of the original Onslaught. So we're making some updates there.
Let's fucking go.
Very good. So reasons obviously to dive into all versions of Onslaught as we go ahead and move into Revenant.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Actually, and while we're here out here, slaying out as best as we can against this new undead army, Chris, we're going to have obviously a slew of new episodic weapons arriving this time.
Yeah.
I know we've kind of spoken about this breach loading grenade launcher. Are there any other notable ones that you're most interested in, or most excited rather, I should say, in bringing back?
Yeah, there are a few weapons that I'm going to personally be chasing rolls on. I'm particularly fond of the
spawned
double
ammo,
fire
bro. What
stasis
the
grenade launcher.
fuck?
Only the third double fire in the game, and the other two are energy slot.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to run this in your kinetic slot. It's got the new perk Envious Arsenal, which is like.
You can see him.
directly
The
targeted
sight
damage
changed
reductions.
green for
So
special, and
whenever
then
you do
purple
damage
for
with
heavy,
weapons,
and then he
that
just
reloads.
shot and spawned heavy
So it's
ammo,
cycling through your weapons to get
bro.
back. And it also has chill clip, which on a double fire is particularly.
Devious on it.
I'm never taking this off. It's gonna be
Also some
movement
cool
tech,
features with the new perks on
free
some of the other
ammo,
weapons.
infinite
So
ammo.
the hand cannon can run the new perk Rhyme Stealer,
Yeah.
which every time you shatter a stasis crystal or a frozen enemy will grant you frost armor,
Yeah.
which is the new verb we introduced recently.
Right.
And that can also roll with Headstone, which will generate stasis crystals.
Yeah.
So you've got this like self-contained loop there.
Yeah.
Submachine gun is an arc precision, and that's got the new perk. Shoot, what is the name of that?
My memory's failing me.
Anyway, it ties back into Jolt, right? Like the
Right, thank you.
Vault Shot is great, but it requires a reload on your weapon after a kill.
Yeah.
This one's triggered on sustained damage, so
That's right.
you'll jolt the target, and then the perk I'm going for in the other column is Loose Change, which every time you apply a debuff gives you a reload speed buff. So you'll be constantly having that loop cycle.
Yeah.
I love how
Also,
much
so we're
Chris
gonna look at
enjoys his
the
job.
new artifact here in a little bit once we go ahead and move through this final wave of what's in front of us right now. But there's also, it's been featured a little bit in some art about Destiny's 10th anniversary, an exotic of yesteryear, we'd say, with
Icebreaker!
all the Guardians who
Icebreaker!
have been sticking around for a while, rather. Icebreaker is returning.
Icebreaker.
Yeah, Icebreaker is coming back. It's something that we've been holding off on doing just because the ammo economy issues that are introduced in Destiny 1 were pretty dire.
Yeah.
But we've got a version here which we think lets you get back into that fantasy of just like always having uptime on the weapon without letting you just hang back and like plink away at enemies from range, which we never like. So the way it works is assists and final blows with other weapons will just generate ammo for Icebreaker.
Got it.
It's got like a 10-round magazine, which is also the same size as reserves.
Yeah.
So the play is that in between boss damage phases or something, you and your team slay out, and as long as you're getting assists or kills, you'll come back in fully loaded.
Got it. Yeah.
And in Destiny 1, there wasn't actually any ice to break, right? So this time, we actually have a bunch of ice that you can break. I won't go into details, we've got limited time.
I called the shit out of that.
This stasis episode.
I think I used those exact words.
To break the proverbial ice by the sounds of it. No, that's very exciting to check out. Now, while we're still here, let's go ahead and check out the new artifact that's going to be arriving. We love getting a chance to show all of you folks this early, so you can go ahead and start your build crafting. But Chris, I know obviously last time around, if I had to kind of paint it with a meta, I'd say rather it'd be very focused on sniper rifles, solar. If there was a similar theme for this particular artifact, what would it be?
So it goes very hard into stasis. Like touches all of the stasis verbs. If you want to make a stasis build, you can amplify it in a bunch of ways here. We're also adding a bunch of grenade launcher perks. So we've got overload grenade launchers, which is great, like tagging those like super deadly overload champions. Also
as a
back
GL
variant
fanatic,
of,
my
like,
friends.
Everyone's favorite.
We're eating, baby!
Artifact perk, Breach and Clear.
Oh, yes.
So you can weaken enemies, and then when you boost it, you can get the second part of that old perk. We were saying earlier, you can boost artifact perks with the potion system.
That's right, yeah. Good. I also will admit I'm very selfishly excited to see anti-barrier scout rifle back. It's been so long.
Anti-barrier.
I've missed it.
Barrier scout is great.
I'm going to pretend like that's just for me, for my own benefit today.
We're trying something a bit different with this artifact as well, in that the first column is all anti-champion mods, and the final column is all of the pinnacle ones, like the capstones for your artifact build.
Right, yeah.
But columns 2, 3, and 4 are roughly equivalent in power, which will let you mix and match them more freely instead of feeling like you have to go for the top tier ones.
Nice.
Usable in build.
It's less of a linear escalation and more of just a mix and match in a lot of ways. Very exciting. Okay, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for players to go ahead and amplify their builds, go ahead and really lean into one play style. If, again, you're like me and want to run double grenade launchers, this feels like a remarkably great season to be doing that, especially with the Fighting Lion buff. Thank you for sharing that with us. But I believe that actually wraps us up for this particular segment of Onslaught, but there's also a couple more things that I wanted to go ahead and tease for the arrival of Act 1. For starters, An old favorite strike is going to be making its return. The inverted spire is returning. But Clayton, it's not coming back exactly as people remember it, is it?
Nope.
No health
we're
gates.
taking an approach and adjusting all the encounters.
No health
and,
gates.
You'll see more Vex. Than what
No
you're
health
used to.
gates.
I can confirm. My compatriot on the social media team, Mitch, showed me through it a little bit. The only thing I'll spoil is if you like death lasers, you're going to have a great time out there. And then in addition to that, there's one more thing we wanted to add in. Arriving with Act 2, mind you, of Revenant, and I'm going to read this to make sure I get it right, inspired from a fan favorite activity from Destiny's past. We're going to go ahead and bring back an activity, but we're not going to tell you anything outside of that. So chat, speculate, let us know what you think. Go ahead and shout us out on Twitter or wherever it is you like to hang out online. But
Everyone's literally just going to say
with
Wrath of the
that,
Machine. What the
I think
fuck?
Go ahead and ready to get
That was the
ready
worst thing
for
they could
the
have
next
ever said
segment.
right there.
But in the meantime, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and share a little bit of what's arriving with Revenant. We appreciate your time so much today.
Yeah, thanks for having
It's
us.
a pleasure. Thank you for having
Oh,
us.
Prison of
It
Elders.
takes a lot to make me look good.
Is
so
that a
thank you
fan
guys for coming here
favorite?
and helping out. I appreciate it. Now, as we transition into our next stage, we've got what we've called in my notes the cool stuff segment, and I think it lives up to that. So we'll go ahead and show you a little bit more of what's to be arriving with Revenant, including what you're seeing here on your screen right now. This is the second earnable skimmer that's going to be arriving in Destiny 2. The aptly named,
Trials.
to highlight, the Zerf board. I was so glad that was the name that stuck. As you can see, it features some very unique 9 style styling, inspired by Zer himself. Both top and bottom are very arted up. The top's obviously a little bit more visible here, but if you do a sweet front flip or back flip, if you're capable of it, you can go ahead and see all sides of it.
Surfboard,
notably, this is going to be earnable. So if you go ahead and start saving up those strange coins now, it's going to cost you 97 of them. So if you're like me and spend your weekends spending all those extra strange coins at Zer to go ahead and get more rolls on your exotic class item, maybe save up for a week or two. Also, because I work here, I've started saving up already, spoiler alert. But the Zerf board will be available with the arrival of Revenant. So make sure and go ahead and grab the first earnable skimmer since the Guardian Games. In addition to that, we obviously have mentioned very recently that we're going to be having a new dungeon arriving with Revenant.
Trailer?
And as a part of this, we're going to be doing a dungeon race in cooperation with our friends over at Twitch Rivals. We've put the sign-up link out there. It's available on our social media channels or in the
Could be SRL.
Or if you prefer your URL's phonetic, it's bung.ie/Twitch Rivals. You can go ahead and head out there, sign up with your fire team, and make sure that you're ready to go ahead and take on this new challenge, which will, again, also provide some additional chances for Bungie rewards. You can see here on screen, we've got a look at the hoodie that will be earnable along with the bracelet. But perhaps what's most interesting about the hoodie is that as a part of the dungeon race, if you're one of the top 3 teams to go ahead and cross that proverbial finish line, then we'll be able to ship out a special embroidered version with your gamer tag on it as well. So make sure and go ahead and dive on in and prepare to try and cross that finish line first. And now we're also going to take one quick look. Festival of the Lost is going to be arriving with Act 1 of Revenant as well. And if you all remember, you took a chance to vote on some armor sets for yourselves. So Hunters up first. You can see here we've got the Evil Wizard set. I myself am very looking forward to adding this to my collection. The Evil Gothic set is just going to only dial up more and more. Up next, our Friendly Neighborhood Warlocks. You've got this to look forward to, including what I think we affectionately refer to as probably the coolest pants we've all ever seen over here at Bungie. And breaking out from the crowd, the good wizards this time around. Titans, you went ahead and voted for it this way. You're going to have the chance to go ahead and add this into your arsenal as well. So make sure
if you voted
that
for this, you're part of the problem.
Dive on into Festival of the Lost and grab this stuff once it's available. And I'm going to be doing that. So maybe I'm just projecting. But either way, make sure and get ready to go ahead and update your fashion where you can. But now we get to move on to our second segment of the show.
Dungeon trailer?
Where we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what's further on down the road. So we've talked about what's just around the corner. Let's look forward to Frontiers. And here to help me discuss those topics today, that topic today as well, rather,
Alison's back.
Are these two fine individuals
Let's
to my
go.
left, which you've met at some point or another. But again, we'll make sure and introduce them to everyone out there in the crowd. We'll start with you first, Allison. Allison, how's it going?
It's going so good. I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
We're up so early. I'm doing well, thank you so much.
Good.
Allison, obviously narrative narrative director here on Destiny at Bungie. Can you tell anyone who may not have seen you in a Vidoc or one of our past streams a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I'm the narrative director for D2. It is me and my team's job to tell stories. It's our job to take care of our characters, of our arcs. We make you laugh, we make you cry, we make you have feelings that you normally don't have to have in your usual day-to-day life.
I was raised not to feel feelings, so it's a very upsetting experience when I do.
Feelings are distressing, I understand. We also get to plan future things, planning ahead for the arcs to come.
Yes.
And the
which we'll be
saga to
talking
come.
about. I know, the whole new saga. We'll have a little bit to dive into as well today. I know, I'm so excited. And then also sitting next to her, Robbie Stevens, assistant game director here at Bungie, a man that I've
Robbie Stevens is also pretty awesome.
Since back in my Mixer days. But if you've tuned into these Bungie streams in the past, you've seen him as well. Robbie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Andy. And I think you've grown a lot since those days.
Thank you. It's been so long, right? Yeah. My badge changed and everything. For the folks that may not know you or may not know what a game director does, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so one of the main things I do as assistant game director for Destiny 2 is I work on the creative direction and vision for where we're going with Destiny coming up in the future with Codename Frontiers. So I get to work with our game director, Tyson Green, and Allison Lurs, our narrative director, and a bunch of our other creative leaders on how we shape the future of Destiny to come.
Very exciting, which we are going to be diving into now. I know we've obviously released some blogs about the Codename Frontier stuff already. If you've been out on Bungie.net reading the Dev Insight blogs, there's been a good amount to dive into. But our friends over on the community team as well have been helping us kind of, read more into what the audience feedback has been and what the players are saying. And so we've had obviously some topics come up that I think we should just go ahead and dive on into.
Let's party.
Absolutely. Okay, that's the right attitude. Let's party at this early in the morning. Always the answer I want to hear. So Robbie, we'll go ahead and start with you. One of the things we said is that these expansions are going to be medium-sized. Can you help us understand a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, definitely. So expansions are changing going forward with Codename Frontiers. And so our philosophy behind this is moving from one really big, all-consuming tentpole moment that kind of takes all the oxygen in the room at one point in the year to two what we consider big tentpole moments happening in each year. And so those tentpole moments coming twice a year now are going to bring with them fresh content and new stories that are going to move the world of Destiny forward. And to answer your question directly, the way we're kind of looking at the size of these is similar to like Rise of Iron from Destiny 1. But this is happening like twice a year as compared to the past.
Yeah.
And so, what's kind of the reason we're talking about this, the rough shape of the box here that we're filling is that what comes with it is like each expansion is going to have its own unique version of a campaign and post-game experience that you can dive really deep into beyond the initial playthrough, similar to how things like the Dreaming City or the Pale Heart from the Final Shape had worked, where beyond those initial campaign experiences, there's like further things to explore and secrets to uncover. And so making our expansions unique and deeply replayable is a big goal for us, in large part to support all the new gear and the new tiering of gear that we're putting into the game, right? And so it's one about, each of these expansions, again, they're going to tell a really compelling story as part of our next saga, but I really want to stress that they're also going to be unique experiences, unique campaigns and post games.
Yeah, I know that's something like, I've kind of overheard some of the conversations where when it comes to these expansions as well, obviously the corollary we're using today is Rise of Iron, but like these are going to be brand new experiences, things that we just haven't released before in the past.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that as well? Or
yeah, definitely. And so for Codename Apollo specifically, the first expansion coming up with Frontiers, you're going to journey to a Metroidvania-inspired destination, right? That's our guiding light for how we're creating this new location.
Yeah.
And so this new destination is going to feature a nonlinear campaign that puts you, in the driver's seat of exploring its world and its story. So this is very different from the past, where you're kind of following a very linear mission structure or line that's very simple in many ways. And Allison actually recently talked a bunch about this in a blog post.
Yeah. So when we made the decision to lean into that Metroidvania structure, we knew that the narrative structure had to match, like had to complement.
They're using Metroidvania like it's an
and
established
so the way
term,
that we're going
is
to
it?
beat nonlinearity in codename Apollo is when you arrive at our destination, which is a new destination, you'll be able to decide if you want to go to region D or region C, or maybe you want to go check out B, because that's going to be where you get the ability that allows you to access region A, so you can talk to that character that you really like. We really want that sense of the player being in the driver's seat, of being able to decide where and how they want to explore and discover the secrets that we have in the world. And whichever of those different choices that you make doesn't negate the others. We want you to explore every crevice inside of the experience. And to help support that, we've structured our story in a complementary way. So we'll have the normal kinds of like activity dialogue that you normally experience in a campaign, but there's also between 25 and 30 different threads of stories that you can discover and chain together after you complete an activity.
25 to 30?
There's so much richness to discover that we're creating.
You see that little thread of that shining rock somewhere, you can really just afford to pull on it and just dive in by the sound
Absolutely,
of it.
that's what we want you to do.
Okay, that's awesome. So actually, let's go ahead and stay on the topic of story here for just a second as well. You know, I think that there's been some conversations about the future of narrative destiny, which has obviously been so central to the experience, so core to our characters and our stories. There's been some concern that maybe the new structure might not afford the opportunity for as much story in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are planning and what that means?
That would be news to me if it suddenly vanished. I like what
Allison,
I do.
please stay.
Please tell me that. Yeah, exactly.
Is this how we find out?
No, story is destiny. Like what makes destiny destiny is that beating heart of story at its core. That's not going anywhere. The thing that this new structure allows us comes in two parts for story. Like part one is pacing. With these 2 tentpole beats a year, the feeling that the world is changing and growing and moving is going to come much quicker now, which means that we can move the plot along at a much quicker pace.
Twitch! Okay, we're good.
Part 2 is focus. Because these are much more focused releases, we don't have to worry about padding the sides with a bunch of extra stuff to kind of fill in the space. Like, nope, we are zeroing in on exactly what each of these releases is trying to communicate.
I mean, that's a good way to spin it. That's
we're
good.
Going to tell a more focused story, and with pacing that keeps up with what fans want.
Yeah, I mean, it's also too, it's interesting because, you know, obviously the narrative is one big part, the story you're telling, the words on the page, but another part of it, you know, given that we have the unique opportunity with a medium like video games, is how players interact with it. We've seen some comments online and some notable conversations about, you know, go talk to vendor X, head over to the holodeck and say hello to this other person, go back to vendor X and shake their hand one more time. Can you tell us a little bit about that structure, what you guys are planning on?
Yeah, it drives us bonkers too. No, we believe that everything should be questioned, right? Like we should be questioning that structure, and we should be reinvestigating it. And starting with Revenant, and especially when we get to Apollo, we're going to be deliberately shaking it up. By the time we get to Apollo, that loop, that pattern is more or less gone. We're shaking things up a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Allison spoke to it earlier, but all those threads that you're pulling on, right? Like these are characters out in the world that you're exploring and discovering, right, as part of your journey here. And so it's not you going to the same location where you expect to see someone delivering a piece of information to you between, you know, specific missions. It is like you exploring the world, finding these people, pulling on all these different threads in order to discover.
Good.
Exactly. The feedback is loud and clear. We want to keep the player out in the world, out and exploring, and get information to them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, we're listening.
And also, I mean, I will say, Allison, you didn't arrive empty-handed. You've got some cool concept art to share with us as well.
I brought some cookies.
Okay.
I brought some presents.
Thank you.
I brought some birthday presents. Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, everyone who's born on
Looking at
October 1st.
concept art is always a joy.
Exactly.
It's a good way to go about it. It's
Big concept art guy myself.
PlayStation? I don't know.
It's true. It's true.
Let's go ahead and take a look. So this is, we've got up on screen kind of one of our first pieces of concept art from the future. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
No, I can't. On purpose. What I can tell you is that this is some concept art of our new destination, which, like I said,
They're
is
like
a new
worshiping
place that we haven't
an
been to
engine.
before, which means that these people that you're seeing are people that we haven't met Not yet. We're going to learn a lot more about them, and I love this piece because the longer that you look at it, same with some of the other art that we've shared so far, the more you start to see things that are kind of familiar all the way out at this new location.
Yeah, it's like
so lots of fun things to discover.
What's the symbol on that thing? Or is this a seance or a wedding ceremony? Who knows?
I know,
right?
and I'm not telling.
Telling a single soul. Okay, all right. Plenty to dive into, including we've got another piece of concept art here as well.
Yeah, something we talk about a lot, and like I think the last concept really like spoke to it is like especially when we're developing a new destination like this, like we really think about like what is a storied history that's happened here. What's something that players can like really sink their teeth into and dig deep into. And you know, going into this concept, something that I love about it that's really resonant with me with a lot of the early creative discussions we had on it is that we wanted this place to feel like an exotic world that is just tailor-built around the joy of discovery.
Or Venus.
And then so within this new destination in Apollo, you're going to be discovering powerful abilities in order to uncover secrets in this location and in order to carve a path to the great mystery at the heart of the planet. And that's what like these concepts, you know, when I look at them in retrospective as the team is now actively like building a bunch of this stuff, it's very evocative for me from that feeling of like, hey, how can, it's something Tyson and Alice and I talk a lot about is like, how can we get that like grand mystery in that game, that feeling that there's something right around the corner, that like it's kind of at the heart, has been at the heart of Destiny for a long time. And as we've been closing on the White Dark Saga, it's been an amazing roller coaster ride, but we want to expand and grow Destiny and we want to change it. And you know, that's what I think these concepts are starting to speak for us, trying to show not just us telling of like, some of that direction.
I mean, it's exciting to see because I think one thing I've heard you guys talk about a lot as well is, you know, just the inspirations that you want to obviously provide the players. You build these new worlds, but you guys have been diving into a lot of crazy subject matter just on your own to get inspired as well. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of some of the fun reading or listening you've been doing as you've been going through this?
Sure. One of the fun parts about being a creative is that you have to fill the tank with something. And
certainly.
So that means doing a lot of research, finding a lot of other targets in media, or even just like what music you're listening to while you're working on a script, right? I know for our team, something that really inspired us was music of the 1960s. We've listened to a lot of early prog, a lot of King Crimson, and a lot of, oh gosh, The Doors and Jefferson Airplane. We also, there's a lot of Slaughterhouse-Five inside of this.
Cheery.
We love to look for inspiration outside of just games because there's so much in the world that can fill that tank and get us inspired for what's coming next. And we also look to television, of course, too.
I mean, TV and movies is like to talk about all the line. I mean, Allison as the narrative director, much better at referencing text. I'm a little bit more of a visual guy.
Is that the nice way to say that?
It's kind.
Okay, cool. All right,
social media and TikTok have brought it us all. But yeah, like when we talk about like all this inspirational media, like one of the things, Destiny also being a sci-fi game that we talked a bunch about was for Apollo was Scavenger's Reign. That's something that Allison, remember an early concept and we were talking about, and we're like, oh wow, that media, that TV show is so great because like it's familiar in some ways, but as you get closer and you really look at their world, it's really strange and different and weird and mysterious, and it really kind of just builds this halo of allure around it that is something that really spoke to us when we're thinking about like how can we introduce something new to the game at the top of frontiers.
That's exciting. All right, so there's obviously a lot of new inspirations. We had a chance to look at some concept art, but Allison, I got to put you on the spot just one last time. Do you have any other teasers for us or anything you can give us before we move on to the next subject?
I got a weird one.
Okay, even better.
Okay. So imagine going to a mansion, like a really nice, really big fancy house.
Okay, and not just in the tutorial to Tomb Raider.
No,
Okay,
like a nice,
thank you.
So you're going in and looking at like a parlor room or something, and maybe the owner of the house tells you there's a secret door somewhere in here. And you're looking around and you can see the door that you came through and you can see the window, but it kind of looks like a dead end, like there's nothing in here. And everyone knows that a good secret door comes from like behind a bookcase. Like you go up to a bookcase and pull on a book or a little statue that's been in front of your face the whole time, but you just haven't had the focus on it yet. And if you pull on that, it opens up the secret door, and suddenly what was a dead end looks like an entryway. And that's what this saga is.
Okay, that's very exciting. And it won't be like Young Frankenstein where I get stuck in the door. Or
You will not
anything.
get stuck in the door. No, I will not let anyone get stuck in the door.
I'm excited for that. I like mystery. This is good.
Murph.
Okay, all right. Thank you again, Allison, so much. There's
Absolutely.
obviously a lot of cool stuff to dive into, but we'll let you and yours keep crafting. But we've got also one more subject as well. Robbie, I'd love to bug you about one more thing,
Please.
if that's all right.
Yeah.
So we've seen some feedback on reward tiers and how there might not be enough variation in loot for players to go ahead and get encouraged to go ahead and keep chasing down more gear. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're all building right now and kind of what that means to you?
Yeah, so this is like very valid feedback, just acknowledging that in the first place, because the first thing we announced was like, hey, there's some new tiers, right?
Past exotic?
Obviously, yeah, you're going to look at that and go like, well, I have a bunch of amazing armor and weapons now, so like, why does this matter in the future? And so. Totally, yeah, that feedback makes a lot of sense to us. And so what's really top of mind and has been for us for a little while now is how we can make not only chasing gear within individual tiers interesting and the whole system interesting, but also how we can make those higher tiers of gear compelling to chase, right? To have that mountain to climb. And so that comes in two forms that I can talk a little bit about today. One, I can go a little more in depth on, which is our next generation armor. That's going to be coming with Codename Frontiers. And then we have some really early thinking for weapons.
Okay.
And so for armor, yeah, let's start there.
Yeah.
Is that okay, Andy?
That's perfect. If you wouldn't mind, Robbie.
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
I would be happy
thank
to.
you.
So yeah, let me lean in here to focus a little bit. So for next generation armor, we really want to make armor valuable again. We want to make it easier to understand, and we really want it to have create new build crafting identities. That's something that's like really close to home for us right now, because we've had a similar system for
You're
quite
spitting.
a while now.
You're spitting.
So part of making it valuable, easy to understand, new identities is one of the big pieces is going to be a large stat rework to the armor pieces themselves.
What?
And so there's going to be fewer stats on each individual piece of armor. So it makes it way easier to quickly compare pieces of gear and be like, oh, this one's better than that one. I'm building into a specific, discipline, strength, whatever, and you can better understand that. That also means that there's going to be fewer things we call dump stats. Like you looking at a piece of gear and going like, oh man, it only gives me +5 resilience. I don't really want that.
Trash it.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I like easier build crafting.
Like, oh, it has a lot of resilience, but that's not what I'm building into. But it's just going to be way easier to just glance at stuff.
Very cool.
And figure it out. But beyond that, right, like how can we answer that question of how can next-gen armor have this new build crafting identity? It also, we want to bring new things to the table, right? And so part of the stat rework, we're going to go beyond 100, Andy.
We go beyond sometimes.
100?
Yeah, we've gone beyond light.
That's right.
Yep, beyond dark. With prismatic.
What
This
else
just makes
is there?
sense. Yeah.
Now we're gonna go beyond 100 with armor. Who knew? Like who knew that's where we go?
It was just hidden in the lore book somewhere, I'm sure, right? Allison? Right? Thank you. No one double check that.
Yeah,
but beyond
don't check our homework. Yeah. So when we go, so what I mean by going beyond 100. So let's talk about strength, for instance. And so this is some early thinking from the team.
Yeah.
So in the 1 to 100 range, it would still reduce your melee cooldown like it does today. It would still have that, so that would still be really easy to understand. But then from that 101 to 200 range, beyond 100, every point into strength at that point would then give you a chance in order to activate a second melee when power melee becomes charged. So basically you get double melee. You get to double throw your shields or double throw your knives or throw whatever warlock, space magic stuff they throw in. I don't play warlocks.
I'm a hunter.
Yeah.
I get it.
So,
Yeah.
I can't jump, sorry.
You mean activate it at the same time? Or you just get your charge
really,
back?
Like, the key thing to there, right, is like that starts to create an identity for what you want to build craft into that's very different than just like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm building in a melee, lower cooldown, that's cool. But now you can start build crafting into like, okay, I'm going to regularly, especially at the higher end, start to get double melee charges, right? And so the other thing we're considering right now is also renaming that stat from strength to melee so that it's just very specific when you look at the gear and kind of like know what it's
cut right to that chase.
Yeah, melee and grenade.
Another
instead
big
of
thing that's
discipline.
coming with next generation armor to the game is set bonuses. And so this is something, I know, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like they're back.
So
work with
we've done, like, some
transmog,
small
or
versions of it in
maybe
the past
don't.
have been like individual releases, but we're looking at this as like a holistic new system that's coming with pretty much every piece of new legendary armor set that we create, starting with Frontiers.
Okay.
And so these set bonuses are going to come in the form of wearing 2 or 4 pieces of a 5-piece set. So that gives you flexibility in order to wear an exotic at any point.
Or 2
and
sets.
It also allows you to mix and match different sets. So you can actually start looking at like gear and go like, oh, I have tier 1, tier 2 of one set, tier 3 of other, and I actually want to like mix match them together for different combinatorics for different build crafting identities. I'm getting like really deep into the weeds here, but the thing that's like really exciting about this is that like one of the perks the team is playing around with that these new set bonuses could give you could be one that's built all around like Tex Mechanica style play, which is like all about hip firing, right? And all about that yeehaw. And then like the more you build into that, you're going to be buffing your Tex Mechanica weapons. And so that's just like one example. But yeah, it's the whole space is just going to like really expand and just become a lot easier to manage in your head and also build complexity into. And so I'm super stoked for it.
No, you guys obviously have been doing a lot of great stuff. So we've touched on.
I'm interested. I'm not a big fan of them simplifying it, but I'm interested in the depth. It's going deeper, but simpler. I don't really understand that.
We're a little earlier on weapons right now. We wanted to talk about next gen armor because we have a lot of.
I'm interested to see how it goes.
Coming together right now. But for weapons, the thing I can say is that like in the game today, we have higher tiers of weapons to chase, like adepts and raid weapons, right? And so those things with them come with exclusive perks that basically, cut above the noise of other weapons you might be earning in any individual release. And so we know from the tiering perspective of weapons themselves that like, hey, we already have this kind of touchstone for us that we see that works pretty well. And it's like, so it's really like, how can we meet or clear that bar, right? Like how can we create those exclusive chases at the top of that aspirational mountain for players to climb?
So actually, additionally too, we've heard some concerns that obviously we're going to maybe be over-indexing on just bringing back reprised weapons, and Guardians will just be out there chasing down something and re-earning something that's just sitting in the vault anyway. Can you tell us a little bit more about like kind of the weapon chase and what you guys are planning on doing with each subsequent release?
Yeah. So just to like make sure to clear the air here a little bit, right? Like every expansion, every season, every raid, every dungeon, there's going to be new weapons, right? We're not slowing down there in terms of like making a lot of compelling new weapon content.
Cool. Okay.
But the thing about reprisals and revisions that I think is true for a lot of Destiny players is like you have that favorite gun, right? You have that gun that you loved at one point in time, and over time it's just not as useful in the contemporary tuning, activity, sandbox, whatever, right? Like just something about it isn't as good over the years. And so like we did with the Brave Arsenal and Into the Light, like that's our touchstone for like, hey, how can we go in and update, fan favorite weapons, bring them back, breathe some new life into them, and make them interesting to use again. And I also think what's great about that is that people who never got to use their Recluse or Better Devils or something that we haven't reprised just yet, right? Is like, oh, that's their first time experience with it, and they've heard how cool it is.
I really like the way Robbie approaches things.
Oh yeah.
Like explaining things.
For the first time, it's so good. I'm glad it's coming back.
It's great.
Okay, that all sounds awesome. So everything that Robbie just spoke to, there's going to be a next gen article, a next gen armor article going up on Bungie.net after the stream wraps up.
Oh shit!
Robbie, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah. So something that I should probably touch on is like we're talking a lot about like all this cool gear and like, but like there's a question here, right? That immediately becomes posed of like why does it matter, right? Like why do I care about it? And so we've talked a little bit, right, about the fact that there's going to be customizable difficulty coming in Destiny with Frontiers, and then also changes to modifiers and things like that with like the Banes that we announced in the recent blog post. And so
the more I think about Banes, the cooler they are.
To making expansions deeply replayable, kind of like I was talking about earlier in our section, and then the customizable difficulty, and then the new modifier systems. Like these are all things that are being built into a structure so that you're going to need to chase that high tier gear. You're going to need to craft that complex set bonus.
That's what they're talking about right now, Sporty.
Gear in order to take on some of the hardest challenges inside of the game. And so this isn't just about changing gear. This is also figuring out how we can bring new and interesting challenge to Destiny and how we can really like breathe life into the challenge of the game.
So exciting. Awesome.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, plenty more information on that to arrive on the blog that's going to be arriving on Bungie.net shortly after this. But I don't think I'm going to be able to top what Robbie just said. So we'll go ahead and get ready to go ahead and close out the stream here today by first thanking all of you fine folks at home for joining us today. We love getting a chance to put these streams on and hang out with all of you in the community, and it doesn't mean anything unless you show up. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. As a reminder as well, there's a Twitch shop going on right now. That's a heads up. You can probably see see it pinned in chat, but just to remind everyone at home that if you've earned the Twitch drop, I should say, rather, it will be arriving on your Guardian when Revenant launches on October 8th. So if you don't get it today, worry not. That's by design. It'll be arriving on October 8th, and you'll get to put your shiny new emblem on. And of course, a huge thanks to our guests here, Robbie and Allison. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andy.
Absolutely. And then the folks from our first segment as well, Chris, Clayton, and Jerome as well, Incredible. Thank you so much for taking them to join us. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the amazing folks doing the actual heavy lifting behind the scenes, Peyton, Ashley, and Justin. Thank you so much. Of course, Ashley, one of the folks that helped design a lot of the stuff we looked at today.
Yeah, I wish we got a trailer.
For taking the time to join us.
That's fine. Like, I'm really excited about the Onslaught stuff.
But yeah, a quick recap. We talked today a little bit about what's to arrive with Act 1 of Revenant, arriving just next week, next reset. It'll be arriving on October 8th. Make sure to go ahead and sign up for the Twitch Rivals dungeon race. It'll be shipping out on October 11th. And remember, if you're one of those top,
I'm so excited for the new dungeon. Oh my God.
Then you'll be able to get the cool embroidered hoodie as well. But there's going to be more information about that arriving on our socials. And then I think that's about it. I think I've concluded my
new weapon perks, stasis, ice spike, GL above 100 stats, 2 plus 4 piece armor sets got me hyped. Yeah. Plus onslaught.
Across the board on whatever social channel.
I'm hoping there's at least one additional activity like we had Enigma Protocol. I've got to say, even if there's not, it still clears Act 1 of Echoes. Onslaught is an infinitely better activity than.
After the stream concludes, read that next gen armor article. We're giving you guys lots of information. Is it fair? No, but we like you, so we're going to keep doing it anyway. So in the meantime, take care of yourselves.
The fuck was that even? What was it called?
We'll see All-Star side.
DMG said it's not SRL. That's got to be Prison of Elders. It's got to be. What the fuck was that activity called? Breach executable. Thank you. So now we just wait for this article to drop, I guess. Forges. Well, I mean, Bring Back Forges is just it's just Solstice, right? It's just Bonfire, brother. That was really good. DMG said that the dev article's coming in about 10 minutes or so. So we'll wait for that. I have to say, I really like these streams because they're not like the catchiest, like they're not the shiniest, like, you know, it's not a trailer for the dungeon. It's not announcing Wrath of the Machine is back. That sort of stuff. But it's like the stuff that I think arguably has a bigger impact on us, like like the type of players that we are, right? And I think that's really important. I would have liked to have seen a trailer, like, don't get me wrong. Sorry. Like, I would have really have liked to have seen a trailer. Definitely don't get me wrong about that. Too many things going on here. But I am really liking the information that we got. I think, you know, we're getting so much content per episode now compared to every season. In terms of, like, it might not be like your favorite thing in the world, and there might be some narrative skips or misses in there. But in terms of like the pure amount of content that we got, even during Echoes, which is almost certainly going to be the weakest of the 3 episodes because it came with Final Shape, right? Enigma Protocol, Breach Executable, the 3 Battlegrounds, a pretty big exotic mission, and stuff sprinkled here and there. Like, it's a lot of content, and they just need to find out how to deliver not only that amount of content, but also, like, put that amount of effort into content that people, like, care about. You know what I mean? And I feel like Onslaught is a great example of that, where it was something that people really loved. In previous Bungie would have made something cool and just let it ride until it fucking dies. Gambit! And not really cared. I guess I tried to save Gambit a couple of times, but this is cool. I think this is good. I would much rather them spend time updating and bringing more life into an activity that it's confirmed that we like Onslaught, which is one of the best activities they've ever made, in my opinion, in terms of replayability, how it flows, how rewarding it is. I'm interested to see how much I like it without shiny weapons, but we'll have to see. I would much rather them spend time doing that than making a breach executable that like literally no one likes. You know what I mean? Article's out. Thank you very much. I think this is good. What Destiny 1 has that Destiny 2 doesn't is mystery and magic. So look, I don't like saying that about Destiny 2 as a whole because Warmind, Forsaken, Shadowkeep had, in my opinion, infinitely more mystery than even Destiny 1 had. It's a period of the game problem. And this happens as well, like a lot of mystery comes from maybe not fully understanding like game systems or combat challenges or things. Like Niobe Labs would not have been nearly as interesting, in my opinion, if combat was easier or ammo was more plentiful during the time. That's a very important part of the game. So as the game ages and we become more powerful and more knowledgeable about the game, it inherently becomes more mysterious. All right, next generation armor. Welcome to one of many developer... I'm going to skip all that, sorry. The problem. In the years since the last major update, Shadowkeep's Armor 2.0 armor has settled into a relatively static part of the reward story. Once you have the right stat rolls, there's very little else to look forward to, and the intricate balance of stat values have a locked-in effect that makes it hard to want to swap out for anything else. For armor to be exciting again, it needs some unique properties. And stats need to be easier to manage without so much need for fine-tuning. Reworked stat mechanics. Give us purple armor. Chesty. Okay. That's a tweet. Sorry. Stats on the armor will be changing in Codename Frontiers in order to make them more player-friendly. The first major change is mechanics of the stats themselves. Stat effects will no longer be tiered every 10 points. Every point in a stat will provide a benefit. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. This change is intended to reduce the lock-in effect that happens when a fine-tuned combination of stat values makes it feel impossible to switch out any singular armor piece. Stat effects will be capped at 200, with the range from 101 to 200 providing additional power effect building on the base effect. This change is intended to support deeper investment in a smaller number of stats and spikier stat distribution on armor with fewer secondary dump stats. In addition to above changes, the distribution of stats on armor will also be changing. Rest in peace to everyone who spent years learning how plugs work. Holy. Legendary armor will have stat archetype, which determines the primary and secondary stat types, with a third stat being a free roll. The values of these stats should overall be spikier, leading to fewer points in dump stats. The class slot, Hunter, Cloaks, Warlock, Bonds, and Titan Marks, will have full stat distributions on par with other slots. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay. So look, they did, like... What? So the Destiny 2 stats are just gone? No, they're not. Wait, what the fuck is happening? What? Mobility, resilience, and recovery are just not on here. But they're here. They're down here. Huh. I'm quite curious about this. And it looks like primary, secondary, tertiary. Surely, do you think it'll always be 30, 20, 10? The Brawler subtype? Oh. Brawler armor archetypes have extreme melee and other close range. Oh. That's interesting. So now there will be kind of like set distributions or ranges of distributions based off of the kind of archetype that your armor is in. I think that could be really cool, actually. I'm curious to see how that plays out in game. This is a very clean example. I'm very curious to see how that looks. There's also be a smaller number of unique stats on any piece of armor, with larger contributions to these stats and every stat point providing a benefit. These changes should ultimately make every piece of armor more interesting and easier to evaluate. Some stats will be changing with 3 goals in mind. Improve specific weak stats that offer very little value. Reduce or eliminate mandatory must-have stats. Overall, improve the understandability of stats and their effects. These changes are still under active development, but here are a few examples from work-in-progress designs that will eventually include most of or all of the current stats found on armor. Discipline from 1 to 100 provides increasing grenade cooldown. From 100 to 200 provides increasing chance to gain a bonus grenade charge whenever your grenade becomes available. So yeah, it's not you throw a grenade and a second one comes out. It's whenever your grenade recharges, you might just get a bonus second one on top of that. Stat renamed to grenade to improve. I don't like that. I don't know. That's like a Scarrow is resistant to change thing. But it's like, oh yeah, my grenades. I guess, I don't know. I kind of like discipline, but it's okay. It's okay. Excuse me, what the fuck? Huh? Strength from 1 to 100 provides increasing melee cooldown reduction. From 100 to 200 provides an increasing chance to gain a bonus melee charge whenever your powered melee becomes available. Special ammo charge or stat from 1 to 100 increase the rate at which special ammo bricks drop from final blows. From 100 to 200 provide increasing chance that a double-sized brick will drop. I kind of like this. So is this going to be replacing mobility then? Or intellect? Discipline, strength? Huh. Because intellect is kind of a dead stat in PvE because it's so easy. Like it's just based off of how much damage you take and deal. I think that's a good change. I think honestly they get rid of intellect. That's kind of cool. I like that. The second major change is the introduction of set bonuses. Think of them like an origin trait for armor. They'll represent the theme of the armor and allow you to reflect that fantasy in the way your build plays. Set bonuses are perks granted when you equip 2 and 4 pieces of armor within the same set. This allows you to either commit to 2 bonuses from the same set or find combinations that fit your unique needs. We're keeping both approaches in mind as they take shape and are excited to see what each Guardian chooses to do with these tools. Note that there's no bonus of 5 pieces because most builds are expected to include a piece of exotic armor. As you'll see, perks will consist of existing mods that will be newly designed, and we've included a few examples below. I wouldn't say it's a dead stat because a lot of builds rely on high intellect. In PvE, if you're running high intellect, you're throwing stats away, like almost exclusively. PvP, you know, that's a different story. But a lot of this sort of thing, I feel like is more PvE focused, and they'll have different stuff on PvP. Okay, Tex Mechanica. 2 pieces of armor gives you the perk while shooting from the hip. You have increased movement speed and weapon handling. Effect increases when you score hits. That's cool. With 4 pieces, Tex Mechanic weapons have increased range and accuracy. So this is... I think this is an amazing change. Non-stop aggression. Final blows with freshly reloaded weapons heal you. Damaging a target with a shotgun or fusion rifle increases the damage it takes from those weapons from a short... Oh my god. Demolition Expert. Direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increases their reload speed. Repeated direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase grenade ability damage. Vanguard Operative. Activate your grenade gives you and nearby allies damage resistance against combatants. Defeating champions with the finishers generates special ammo. Oh my god. Built-in special finisher. What happens to your old armor? Old legendary armor will be changed as little as possible, but because the change to stat mechanics and types are global, old armor pieces will have their stat types, not their values, changed around. When possible, these changes will be to the most similar stat, but with some stats being fundamentally reworked, this won't always be possible. What about exotic armor? Updating the exotic armor pursuit is on our roadmap, but it won't be part of the initial update that is focusing on legendary armor. So make sure that exotics and their build-defining perks remain a compelling option. We are working out a design that will allow players to update their exotic armor to bring their stat bonuses in line with the changes to legendary armor. The exotic class items introduced to Final Shape are a special case. Even though legendary class items will be gaining full random stats, we don't wish to add additional randomness to the exotic class item chase. Instead, we'll be providing a method for players to update their existing class items with additional stats they're choosing, bringing them in line. Let's go with stat. That's a Bungie W. More details on the longer term plans for exotic armor coming as we nail them down. This is good. This is good. My vault is full. Where am I supposed to store all these armor? We know vault pressure is a real problem for many players, even with the recent increases of vault space. Outside of adding more space, an option, real solutions that enable long-term storage of more desirable roles are really hard problems. But those are the problems we're penciling into our roadmap at or around next year's second expansion, codenamed Behemoth. We'll share more details when we have a clearer direction. This is good. I mean, everything there I'm excited about. Once again, I'm a little apprehensive about just like making it even more simple. But it's getting deeper. It is undeniable that this is, while they're simplifying maybe the combinations of perks you can get and the distributions of perks you can get, build crafting is just getting deeper. You know what I mean? You will have to make more impactful choices and more deliberate choices, and you're gonna have to farm out more deliberately the types and combinations of armor and the where the armors come from as well. So I think overall this is really good. Once again, really the final determination is going to be how it functions once it hits the game. But I love the addition of set bonuses. I love the now stats up to 200 matters a lot. I think that's really cool. And I'm very interested to see what the rest of the reworked perks look like. So, yeah. What if Behemoth is about Zavala? He's a Stasis Titan main now, a Behemoth. Behemoth is the code name. Just like the first one's not actually going to be called Apollo. So, it seems more approachable, but deeper at the same time, which is good. The mod system got more approachable and shallower in Nightfall, which was bad. I 100% agree. And I think that I hope that they take steps to try to deepen that mod variety as well. But this is I think this is a really, really good change here. I'm interested to see how Artifice Armor works with this. My excuse, it looks like stats are going to be way easier to farm now. They don't matter past getting like 10 pieces. I think that's the point of the set bonuses. Because say, for instance, like you're not... So like this Vanguard Operative one, Wobby, defeating champions with a finisher, generate special ammo. As far as I'm concerned, this is going to be like at least 2 people are going to need the 4 perk set bonus for this for every day one going forward, right? Champions here or there, they're not always in. They were in Salvation's Edge quite a bit, but not in other raids. It's hit or miss. But this is something like we are going to have to very deliberately go and farm 4 pieces of this that matches our preferred stat distribution. So while it might be easier to get that stat distribution that you like, you're now going to have to farm it for different, set bonuses as well. So it's not, you just, you no longer just farm out one set of Artifice armor. You have to farm out many sets of armor that give you set bonuses that you like. And maybe there's only 3 or 4 set bonuses that you might like, or, 3 or 4 2 set bonuses that you want to combine or whatever. But it's still a lot more variety than we get now. So I like that. I think that's kind of cool. These are the type of changes I think will bring my friends back. I'm excited for this. I think this will be cool. Yeah, I agree. I think nonstop aggression is also going to be really good for like DPS, right? Especially damage you target with shotgun increases the damage it takes from shotguns. Like, someone say shotgun hot swap back on the menu, baby? So like, this is cool. I like these changes. Obviously, this is we're still 9 months away from this, and this is very initial work on it. But I think this has a lot of promise to go deeper. They're simplifying it on the front end, but I think they're really making you like push deeper deliberately into the builds and choices that you make. And I think it's going to make preparing for like day one raids a lot more interesting for me. So I think that's really fun. But we'll just have to wait and see, you know? This is all speculation based off of, you know, first passes of design choices that are nowhere near releasing. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm really interested to see how weapon farming ties into this as well. So, all right, everyone. I have to go back to work. This was really good. I wish we got a trailer, but other than that, I think everything was very promising. I'm so glad Onslaught is coming back with updates. Very excited for all of that. Yeah, this is pretty good. Pretty good. All right, everyone. Have a fantastic night. I love your faces. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And, you know, we'll be back soon, probably tomorrow for some prep, probably some bounty prep, or maybe some zombies, I don't know. Just a reminder, I am out of town on Tuesday when this launches, a week from today. I will be back on Thursday. I might try to have some videos out. I might try to do a hotel room stream. I'm not really sure what it's going to look like. But I will definitely be back Thursday night, and we will be hitting all of the content very hard. And I will be going for the world's first race on that Friday for the dungeon and solving all the secrets and stuff. Everyone, have a great night. Thank you for joining me, my friends. And I'll see you very soon. Peace out. See you, everyone.